Okay, good evening everybody. Thank you for coming. Very excited about tonight's topic. We're going to talk about beautiful hair and how to have beautiful hair. And beautiful hair is healthy hair. So, a little bit about me. I'm an attorney, but my passion is like health and nutrition. But I also really am passionate about the intersection between the law and health. And so we're going to get into that just a little bit today when we talk about hair. So I love this quote. You must unlearn what you have been programmed to believe since birth. That software no longer serves you if you want to live in a world where all things are possible. And we have been taught so many things since birth. Everyone wants to smell good. You want the hair that's going to smell good. You want the soft hair. And so we're told, you start out with Johnson's baby shampoo so you can have that nice, beautiful baby smell. And, you put all these products on you. And we're taught this, that we need to lather our hair so that our hair is actually clean. And all of the things that we've been taught are actually things that are not serving you. So let's get into it. So we're going to go over a few hair facts. So this is a picture of the skin, the epidermis, the dermis, and the hair shaft and the hair follicle. And each strand of hair contains 14 different trace elements, and even more than that. And it contains information about everything that you've had in your body. So when you get a good hair analysis done, you can see what's going on with your hair and with your body. And each hair strand, this is amazing to me, it has its own muscle, its own nerve, and its own blood supply. And so when you get the goosebumps, it's the muscle that makes the hair raise up. And so you've got the hair papilla, you've got the hair bulb, the follicle, and all of this, and then the hair grows out of that. So hair is composed mostly of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, which that means protein, and sulfur. And on average, a woman's going to spend about $800 on hair care a year. That's a lot of money. So I'm going to teach you how you can save some money too while you're at it. And it takes 13 days for gray hair to appear when you're under a stressful situation. So how many of you have been under stress and then you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my goodness, I have more gray. It takes about 13 days for that to happen. And stress really does have a huge impact on the color of your hair. So this is another interesting fact. Hair absorbs oil out of water, and they've actually used hair to clean up some oil spills. They've used that as a component. So I thought that was fascinating. But here's another thing, that it stretches like 30%. So when it's wet, it can stretch that much. However, if it doesn't go back, then you don't have enough protein. And if it snaps, it's too much protein. So everything that we'll find in life, we need a balance. So you don't want to look at this and say, okay, let me just, gorge on protein. We need the balance. So in 1950, only 5% of women dyed their hair. That's not very many, and that's not that long ago. Now it's over 75%. And we see young girls. I mean, they're always bugging their mom, take them to the, beauty parlor, get highlights, get something off the shelf, do it themselves. But girls, younger and younger, are coloring their hair. And then the life cycle of hair. There's 3 phases. There's the growth, and then rest. So it seems like it's just not growing. And then there's the shedding. So there's the 3 phases of hair growth. And so the 2 main complaints that I hear are either you're balding or your hair is thinning. That's a huge one. And then the second one is the gray hair. People are always looking for solutions to these two problems. So let's talk about the causes of hair loss. So one cause is physical stress. you can get, for example, into a car accident where you have all this stress on your body and it shocks your body, and what happens is it pushes the hair into the shedding phase, and so you'll be losing your hair from that. And it takes time for your body to recover from, that type of physical trauma. So, but your hair does recover, and sometimes you might not even make that association because it takes time. It's not like you have a trauma and then the next day you wake up and you've got all this hair on the bathroom floor. It can take 3 to 6 months. Pregnancy. And pregnancy, it's hard on your body. So that can be classified as a trauma in this sense. It's not a trauma, it's a natural thing. But it is hard on your body because the baby needs the nutrients. And you are, supplying the nutrients to the baby. But also, pregnancy, of course, affects your hormones. And hormones is another cause of somebody thinning their hair or losing their hair. And then lack of protein. And again, protein deficiency, it can take 3 to 6 months. I've put up here, there's a bunch of sources of protein, plant protein. So it's not that you need to start eating chicken or beef or meat. There's plenty of sources of plant protein. And like I said earlier, we want balance. You don't want to just start gorging on protein. We need the balance. So hormones, again, birth control pills, going on the pill, going off of the pill, that's a big one. Pregnancy, menopause, and a big one that we're going to be talking about that I don't think enough people talk about is the endocrine disruptors. I remember having conversations in the past with the girl that cut my hair, telling her, I think too much hair is falling out. And, they go to, what's going on? Do you have stress in your life? And, what's going on with your hormones? But nobody ever asked me about endocrine disruptors. And this one is actually really huge. And then emotional distress. Emotional distress, it causes hair loss. How many times have you gone through an emotionally stressful situation and then down the road you notice you have hair falling out? So this one is huge. And so we talk about it a lot here. We need to exercise and meditate and do things to deal with the emotional stress in our lives. And if you can get rid of it, then get rid of it. Highly recommend that. Anemia. This is another one that can cause hair loss. And your blood cells aren't getting enough oxygen, and it can include things like other symptoms, fatigue, dizziness, pale skin. It can be from your diet. You're just not consuming enough iron. And I always recommend having a vegetable source of iron because it's bioavailable and your body can utilize it. When it's not, when you get it in a pill, it's usually mineral that knock on through the whole plant process where the plant makes it bioavailable, and it oxidizes your body, so you don't want to have that type of iron. But one thing to keep in mind is, are you getting enough iron? That's one question. But the next question is, are you on antacids? Because antacids will affect your digestion. And if your digestion is not working properly, if you're on antacids or things like that, you're going to be low in iron because your body is not, your stomach's not getting low enough pH, and your body is then not able to absorb the iron from the food that you are eating. So another one is hypothyroidism. Now this one is a big one. This one is related to diet. I always suggest that my clients cut out gluten because it can affect the thyroid. So that one is huge. And then practicing yoga. There's a number of yoga poses that are specific to helping the thyroid. So that is something good. And if you want any of those poses after, just talk to me. And then deficiencies in other minerals like selenium and the B vitamins. So especially biotin. I think when you go to Mother's Market, you can see the hair support formula, and it's always going to have biotin in it. And then alopecia. It's an autoimmune disorder. And this one, anything autoimmune, automatically think of your gut. That's what you need to repair. So taking your enzymes, getting out the allergens, getting out the dairy, getting out the gluten, getting out any of those things is going to really, really help your health all around. And alopecia or things like that, it's just a symptom. You know, instead of trying to figure out how to do something topically and figure out how to get, you know, your hair back, think of alopecia, think of these issues as symptoms telling you something's going on internal that needs to be addressed. Medication. So if you look at your medication, you're going to see side effects. So some beta blockers, some blood pressure medications, antidepressants, steroids, all of these are going to have side effects that may cause hair loss. So if you are experiencing hair loss, look at your medication and see what the side effects are. And sometimes if you're on two medications, they can interact together as well, and it might not be a listed side effect, but it can still cause the hair loss. So be careful with your medication. And this is a big one, over-styling. So people, what do they want? They want the funky colors. They want the hair straight if they have curly hair. They want it curly if they have straight hair. They shave it in different ways, and then they put the dye on, so the dye is going directly into the, I mean, it's going directly into the scalp anyway, but you know, the relaxers, all of these things, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, but all of these things are major contributors to hair loss. And then gray hair. One of the biggest things is stress. And we all know that. You know, we talked about a little bit ago. You look in the mirror after a stressful situation, and you think, God, I didn't have that much gray like just not that long ago. But smoking cigarettes, because that depletes your body of minerals. So smoking cigarettes, cut the cigarettes out. And then dehydration. In dehydration, you could be drinking a lot of liquid, but if it's soda, if it's coffee, if it's alcohol, all of these dehydrate you. So make sure it's a good source of hydration. Water, coconut water, things like that. Oops. So lack of adequate dietary copper. So things that have it are like sage. You know, you can get supplements with sage in it. And then deficiency of iodine, which goes back to your thyroid. Are you eating a lot of bread? Because if you're eating a lot of bread, the bromide in the bread and the gluten, all that's going to affect the thyroid. And chlorine is going to affect the thyroid, and fluoride. So if you're brushing your teeth with fluoride or rinsing with fluoride, get a substitute. No more fluoride. No more fluoride here. And then alcohol and the caffeine. And then inadequate circulation. This is a big one. And it feels really good. I mean, in the morning or at night, you just can circulate, you know, like massage your head a little bit. Get the circulation there. But there's yoga poses for that as well. You can do inversion poses, forward folds, things like that are going to get the blood into your head. And all of that is going to help with the circulation. And so another thing, the hair grows, like you'll see it on your skin. So underneath your hair is skin. And your skin, it's home to over 1,000 different strains of microbiota. And so we need to keep that strong and healthy. And we hear about the microbiota like in our intestines. You know, we hear about that a lot. Take your probiotics, take your prebiotics, make sure that your gut is functioning properly. But people don't think about that when it comes to their skin and when it comes to their hair. So that is something that is also key. So keeping the skin healthy is going to be keeping your hair healthy as well. And the microbiota is part of your immune system. You know, it's on the surface, but it's part of your immune system. And it helps protect against yeast and bacterial overgrowth. So, you know, you see babies that have like cradle cap and stuff like that. You know, that's an issue. There's an imbalance with their microbiota on their skin. So we don't want to have that. So let's talk about hair care products. So they are being promoted. You look on TV, you see them all the time. The Pantene, how many times have you seen the Pantene commercial? And that woman has the incredibly gorgeous, long, perfect hair. And it's so shiny and it just like flows so beautifully. Well, the ingredients are not healthy. They're not producing health. So we're being told all of this stuff through media so that they can sell more products, so they can make more profit without being concerned for us and our health. And it's unregulated. So this is kind of where the law and your health kind of intersect. So it's unregulated, the whole industry. The only time any hair care products or things like that are regulated is if it's intended to change the body function. For example, dandruff shampoo. Dandruff shampoo is regulated by the FDA. But other than that, they're not accountable. These companies aren't accountable to anybody for the ingredients. And it takes people like us, grassroots, to say, hey, wait, we don't want these chemicals in our products anymore. You know, it's making us sick. So they can put in carcinogenic chemicals and other endocrine disruptors into our hair care products. And endocrine disruptors, what they are is they mimic hormones. And as you can see in the picture, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, we all have hormones. And the thyroid hormone, every single cell in your body has a receptor site for thyroid. So thyroid's really, really important. So we don't want to have anything that's going to be disrupting our thyroid. So that's number one. There's a lot of estrogen mimickers. And so that's going to affect both men and women. Just a side note, there's this fascinating movie. It's called The Disappearing Male. And it's all about BPA and plastics and those type of endocrine disruptors and how it's causing men to have lower and lower sperm counts. And so it's affecting, you know, our males. So this stuff affects both genders. And it affects every part of our body. So we've got some common chemicals and endocrine disruptors. So the first one is formaldehyde. And formaldehyde is awesome. It's great preservative. Preserves whatever's in that bottle. It does not preserve you. Well, unless you're in a jar and yeah. Or you want to be embalmed or something like that. But I mean, that's what they use it for. They use it for embalming. They use it for all these other processes. And they put formaldehyde, they put it in our products. It's a preservative. It's an antiseptic. So it's longer shelf life. And so that's really good for the companies that are making these products, longer shelf life. And then parabens. And this is another preservative, and this one mimics estrogen. And parabens you're going to find in most of your hair care products. And then triclosan. Now triclosan, this is another one. You'll find this in the little hand sanitizers. They're trying to phase it out of that, but what it does is it kills bacteria. So the microbiota that we talked about, you want to keep it healthy on your skin, on your hair. Well, they have shampoo that has the triclosan in it. So Read the labels. We don't want triclosan in our shampoos or in body wash, anything like that. It's another endocrine disruptor. And the other thing too, so basically what it does is it kills the microbiota. And so you put it on, you wash your body, you wash your hair, it goes down the drain, it's going to get into the environment. And you think, oh, well, it's just me, it's not that big of a deal. Well, no, it's just you, everyone in your household, all your neighbors. I mean, this stuff like adds up. So because everyone's using these products like every single day. And you got to be really careful. I went to my yoga studio and they were filling up the soap dispenser, and I just asked, like, oh, what is it? And she says, oh, it's natural. And I said, okay, does it have triclosan in it? And she reads it and she says, yeah, it does. I was so disappointed. So I'm writing to the management so that they can change their soap. But, you think about that. I mean, we're getting it out there in public, washing your hands, wherever you go. Chances are it's going to have the triclosan in it. Okay, so let's move on. Phthalates. Okay, so phthalates is another big one. This one you're going to find in fragrance. You're never going to see this on the label, but if it says fragrance or parfum, something like that, you can almost be guaranteed it's going to have phthalates in it. And it is anti-androgenic. So this one is like big time. Affecting, the endocrine system. And then parabens again, triclosan. Oh, we already talked about that. Okay. Now chemicals, they have these long names. And unless you're a scientist, you probably can't pronounce them. I can't pronounce them. And so they shorten them. So there's DEA, TEA, and MEA. And so these are foam enhancers. So who doesn't like that feel of like you lather up your shampoo in your head and you have all this nice foamy lather, or lather, your soap on your body? Like, we're told that you need to lather up to be clean. Well, it's another lie. It's not true. They put these chemicals in there and they've kind of conditioned us and trained us to expect to lather up. And we need that to be clean. The reality is that this is toxic to our bodies. It can cause birth defects. And there's associations with them being carcinogenic. So these are actually really, really dangerous chemicals. And then PEG, this is another big one, polyethylene glycol. And what this does is it enhances the penetration. So you have this product, this chemical, and then you have like the TEA or one of these other chemicals or parabens or even the fragrance that has the phthalates in it. And this chemical is going to cause those to drive in deeper. So the combination of all these chemicals, what they've never tested is they've never tested what happens if you combine this chemical with this chemical. They might do a test on one chemical, but they don't test to see what happens if you combine them. And, it's very, very dangerous territory. So let's look at Johnson's Baby Shampoo. Who hasn't heard of Johnson's Baby Shampoo? And you get that for your baby, your grandbaby. And we're accustomed to that smell, and we think it's a clean smell. And the way that they promote it, it's gentle as water. I mean, doesn't that sound so nice? No more tears. It's soap-free. It's clinically proven hypoallergenic. It's dermatologist tested. So whatever that means, okay, dermatologist tested it, and okay, and then paraben-free. That's another thing that they do. It's like, oh my God, it's paraben-free. I want that one because it's paraben-free. They'll pick out one thing that people are aware of, and they'll put that on the label, and it gives the image that it's good for you. Oops. But here's the chemicals. And so I highlighted 2 of the PEG chemical that we talked about and 1 of the parfum. And there's a whole lot of other crap in there, those long chemical names. But we already have, 3 chemicals right off the bat that we know of that we don't want our innocent little baby absorbing into their skin. So just watch the advertising. They do that a lot. They'll pick one thing and highlight it, paraben free. Okay, well, it's not chemical free. So sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS, and this was another one. It sounds good. Sometimes they'll say it's derived from coconut, but they processed it so much it's not natural. It's not good for you. And it's linked to serious skin and scalp irritation and disease and hair loss and damage. So here we are trying to have beautiful hair, trying to make sure that we don't lose more hair. We don't want more hair on our bathroom floor. We want it on our head. And we're using these products, and one of the main ingredients is linked to hair loss and damage to your hair. So I think it's so that they can formulate another product so that they can sell you that other product. And then we've got sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLES. And this one is potentially toxic or harmful to human health. And this one is commonly tainted with this ethylene dioxide. And this is a byproduct. This is not an actual ingredient. And so you won't see it on the ingredient list. So that's what happens with a lot of these chemicals. They'll have these cancer-causing toxic chemicals that aren't on an ingredient list because they're not actually added in as an ingredient. They're a byproduct, or it's contaminated with it. So coal tar derivatives. So how many of you have heard of coal tar derivatives? So coal tar derivatives, this is one that really kind of pisses me off. It's in shampoos. It's in the dandruff shampoos, but it's in your hair dyes. And the darker the hair dye, the more of this they'll have in it. So little lesson. So F, D, and C, blue number 1. So that means that color is approved for use in food, drugs, and cosmetics. And then sometimes you'll just see D and C. So it's approved for drugs and cosmetics, and then a number and a color. And then also you'll see CI followed by 5 digits. And so these are coal tar derivatives. So these items can be used therapeutically in shampoos and things like that. And it's kind of like the hardcore stuff, like right before you get to prescription strength, the Tegrin and the T-gel and all these things. But with hair dye, one of the things is it has to say that do a patch test. So have you ever gotten the bottle and says, do a patch test? You can be guaranteed that that has coal tar derivatives as the hair color. So be careful of that one. And so coal tar derivatives, it's not going to say coal tar derivative because people would be like, what the heck is coal tar derivative? So it might be any of these, and this is not an exhaustive list. There's way more names for these coal tar derivatives. But that's another thing. We're so conditioned now to not understand labels, especially when it comes to body care products, that we just take it for granted. We get the thing and, okay, well, I guess, and we buy it. So any of these names here, it is a coal tar derivative. And so, side effects. Why do we care? Is it really that bad? It's bad. So, hyperactivity, ADD, implicated in lung and skin cancers. That's a nice one. Oh, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Bladder cancer may cause blindness, and very toxic to aquatic animals. So, how many of you have gotten your hair colored and they rinse it off? And it goes down the drain, and where does it go? It is going to go, and it's going to affect the aquatic animals. So anything that you're putting on and washing off, it's going to go down the drain. It's going to get in our environment. And we need to start thinking this way because we're having issues with our environment. There's studies that have been done that that people that use hair color every day, that they're having a higher incidence of bladder cancer. So, that's something to think of, these poor hairstylists that, they work hard and they're on their feet and they're using these chemicals, and I don't think they have a clue, most of them, how dangerous these chemicals are, and using that day after day after day. A lot of people are getting sick. So who's watching out for us? So I think we are kind of conditioned to also believe that, well, it's on the shelf at the store, so it's got to be safe. And it's FDA. They're watching out for us. They're not. And in 1938, when they passed the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act, the hair care industry specifically lobbied and said, we want coal tar derivatives excluded. So you cannot prohibit coal tar derivatives. That's been a long time that's been on the books. So no, Michael Taylor, he's not looking out for your best interest. So I like this one. Your government thinks you're an idiot. Please stop trying to prove them right. So we need to really take responsibility, and we need to tell people, and we need to let people know. And stop just kind of blindly trusting, oh, we've got the FDA that is out there protecting us, or the USDA, or the EPA, because they're not. They're being funded by big pharma, big agriculture, big business. So there's got to be a better way. After all this bad news, there's got to be something better. So there is. So looking at every cell has this lipid bilayer. And so the membrane is semi-permeable. And it's made of protein, it's made of lipids, and it's semi-permeable so that you can have nutrients come in and waste products be excreted. And that's why it's semi-permeable. So if we start thinking about this on a cellular level, how do we have, healthy bodies? How do we have healthy hair? Well, our hair is made up of cells. So we need to start thinking on that level. So we need to think of our bowels, cleaning our bowels, keeping our bowels functioning properly. Our kidneys, another organ of elimination, making sure they function properly. Our lungs, another organ of elimination that, exercising is good. Breathing exercises are really good. Yoga is actually really good for breathing and cultivating your breath. And your skin, it's the backup system to all of your organs of elimination. So when things start erupting on the skin, you need to also really hit hard all your other organs of elimination and keep everything functioning properly, because your body is it's a miracle. It's so perfectly and beautifully designed, and it's working exactly the way it should. And if you're having a symptom, if you have too much hair on the bathroom floor, your body's trying to tell you something. So let's learn to listen to our bodies. So got some solutions for you. So Hal Huggins, love this man. He recently passed away. He was a biological dentist, and he believed that nutrition is the most important component in restoring your body. And I agree with this. You know, you can do all sorts of great things, and if your nutrition sucks, you're going to have issues. Oops. So what do we need? We need essential fatty acids. We need high quality raw fats and protein, antioxidants and nutrient rich foods, which, you know, you can get a lot of nutrients in a smoothie. Making sure all your organs of elimination are functioning properly, and then plenty of fiber. I actually think fiber should be a food group. You know, it's not a food group, but it should be. And then we talk about food that we put in our body, but I think we also should start thinking about food that we put on our skin, because it's 26 seconds for what you put on your skin to be absorbed into your bloodstream. So moisturize with coconut oil. I mean, I love coconut oil, but it goes right into your skin. You can use coconut oil on your hair, but whatever you put on your skin will be absorbed into your body. It will be absorbed into your bloodstream. And one of the things about that is if you eat something that isn't the greatest for you, you at least have like protection. You have acid in your stomach, and you've got your liver to process things, and you've got your organs, you know, your bowels to eliminate. But if you think about it, if you put toxins directly on your skin and it goes into your bloodstream, you don't have the protections of the whole digestive system. So vitamin D is a big one. You know, it seems like we're so scared of the sun. Everyone's so scared, you know. We might get skin cancer. But if you think about it, life can't exist without sun. So we need sun. Our bodies need sun. It's the best source of vitamin D. So let's start changing our mindset a little bit about the sun. It really does promote health. So we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to go out there and you know, fry our skin. But at the same time, let's get healthy doses of vitamin D and sun. And plus, it's free. Like, who wouldn't want to go out and get a nice free dose of vitamin D instead of going down to the market and buying some vitamin D? But the sun is amazing, or vitamin D. It can reduce your risk of flu, of cancer, muscle aches, depression, diabetes. I mean, the list is pretty exhaustive. So go out there and get your sun and get your vitamin D. Okay, no poo. Talked about this last time. No poo. The no poo method. Has anyone heard of the no poo method? Okay. So the no poo method means no shampoo. What's it say? The act of giving up commercial shampoo in favor of cleansing hair with natural ingredients, such as baking soda. So the no poo method is baking soda for your shampoo. So you get baking soda, you use that as your shampoo. Obviously, it's not going to lather because it doesn't have all the chemicals in it. However, it is going to clean. And what do we want? We want lathered hair, or do we want clean hair? I want chemical-free clean hair. And then for your conditioner, it's apple cider vinegar. And you rinse it out really well so that you don't have that vinegar smell, unless you like the vinegar smell. I'm not partial to it. But I do have to warn you, it takes a little bit of time for your hair to detox. You have so many chemicals on your head and so many chemicals on your hair that when you first do this, it's not going to feel the greatest. And so you need to say, okay, if I'm going to try this, I'm going to give myself, 6 weeks, and I'm going to detox my hair and my head of all these chemicals. So there's a couple of quick tips. If you have oily hair, you increase the baking soda, and dry hair, you increase the vinegar. You can find no poo all over on the internet. You'll find before and after pictures. You'll find people telling their story about how they transitioned out of shampoo. But I highly recommend it because, number one, it's protecting you. And number two, you're saving a lot of money. Go out and buy a box of baking soda versus, your big shampoo. You're saving a lot of money. So let's get rid of the toxins. Now, another thing that I like is adding essential oils. And you can add essential oils to your no poo method. And so I have on the sheet here, I have a list of different essential oils that are actually really good for your hair and for different conditions. So if your hair is oilier or if your hair is like thinning. So there's a lot of recommendations here. But for hair growth, some great ones is cedarwood, thyme, lavender, and rosemary. Now, remember, when you put essential oils on, like you can drop it on your head. It doesn't have to be massaged in every, inch of your head because it's going into your bloodstream. And so you do want to massage it around, but it doesn't, you're still going to be getting the medicinal benefit. And then another line that I really like is the Morocco method. And the shampoo does look like that. It's brown. It does not lather. So again, it's not like a typical shampoo, but it's raw, it's vegan, it's paleo, it's all of that good stuff. And this again will take a little bit of time for you to detox. And you can go to my website and you'll see a link to this, but it does take some time to detox. So some of my favorite things are the scrub, the body brush, the coconut oil, the supplements, and then the essential oils. So a little bit about essential oils. You can go down to Whole Foods, Mother's Market, and you can get essential oils. However, they probably aren't going to be the highest quality. There's a lot of additives that people will put in, and they won't be pure. The line that I carry that I absolutely love is Wisdom of the Earth, and for a number of reasons. Wisdom of the Earth brand, the owner has a relationship with all the farmers, and he makes sure that all of the oils that he gets everything is grown sustainably. Everything is either organic or biodynamic. So you're not going to get anything that's grown with chemicals or anything like that. And it's going to be done sustainably. And you can really tell the difference. And way back when, before there was, pharmacists and all that, they used aromatherapy. That was the medicine. And, we can use this as medicine. And I have, a whole medicine cabinet. I have birch, for example, for, sore muscles, and lavender is beautiful for a lot of different things, but it calms you down. So there's so many different oils that you can use, and you can use them as medicine, and they're really quite effective. So those are a few of my favorite things. But we need to take care of our bodies. We need to laugh, and we need to have fun. We need to enjoy ourselves. We need to enjoy nature and use our bodies, exercise. Get out there and just enjoy life. And then meditation. All of these things are going to work together, keeping your stress down. If you've suffered some kind of physical trauma, that's going to help your body deal with that as well. But all of these things working together are going to give you beautiful, lovely, soft hair. So thank you very much.